Well, tell you should stay there so you know if people were on. And so, hey, this is spring cleaning in the shop. That's one of the drags about winter in the Northeast. Everything gets put away and it kind of stays in the spot. So the bikes are filthy, the tools are filthy, the shop's filthy. But you guys remember the other night I was hanging up my treasures from the office supply store, and they're all up good now. I built my little framework against this shelf and I ran a stringer across the roof. Now I got some good cabinets with some overhead light from my parts washer and my sandblast cabinet. And look, just like you would figure, these things were hung here for 2 minutes and they're full to the gills already with stuff that I had packed everywhere else. But never enough good cabinet or shelf space in a shop. You know, all my cleaning supplies and spray paint cans and everything now in one spot. So that was nice. And like I said, I think maybe I paid $50 a piece for these cabinets and a couple cans of Rust-Oleum Snap-on Red paint. They're good to go. So yeah, if you guys were tuned in earlier, I had the privilege of being on Dave and Jody Pirowitz's Chopper History today. That was a blast. Thank you to those guys for having me on. Big honor. We're going to go outside and wash several dirty motorcycles. So some of these are projects, some of them are completed bikes, but they're all dirty from winter in Pennsylvania. So if you even just letting dust sit on shit ends up starting to eat away at paint. I like to try to pull them out here and there and hose everything off. That one there is this year's T-bike, and it was incredibly filthy when we got it. So I have my own mixture here of secret sauce for getting caked on grease off. No, really, it's just kerosene. And before I get any environmental haters for that, it came out of the ground. Someone sold the shit to me. I'm putting it back in the ground. I don't know. All right, let's get the Mighty Blaster 5000 going. Thing always sounds like it's going to explode. Spring cleaning. Oh yeah. And of course it's like 40 degrees today. It was sunny and summery. Now it's shit. Oh. Yeah. The whole camper needs scrub too. Yeah, if you guys heard what Heather just said, a lot of guys that are commenting, she can't see your names on this app, but if you just type out your name and where you're from, we can communicate a little better. So, as I was doing this stuff the other day, some of you guys commented that I go too fast and I don't talk about the stuff. So, to that end, this is a 1949 Panhead. No, I have not forsaken this bike. I'm waiting for Barry Wardlaw to be ready to do the motor.
Say hello to Dan Duggan until I'm
Dan Duggan, what's up? This is a 1997 Sportster, the Bone Daddy. This is also like a 98. This bike actually, you can still go to twistedt.com and sign up to win that for a couple more months. And this is a 77.
81.
Wow, way off. 81 Shovelhead. We're going to make like a bitchin' gangster kind of old FLH, not, you know, the modern day lowrider kind of look, but that's going to be this year's Twisted Tea bike that they give away. Great people there. I can't say enough about Boston Beer. Every year they have us build a bike and then they just give it to one lucky person that is a motorcycle fan. 77. Yep. Wow. Dude. When your motorcycle is so dirty that kerosene and high pressure isn't taking grease off of it, shame on you, Jason Sims.
Dan says we need a munchkin for all that work. Dan, we used to have a munchkin, but they
yeah. Dan, we used to have a munchkin, but she went to college and now she has a big fancy life. You know, the truth is, as far as this being work, I've done every shit job on the planet, man, and like getting to do this stuff. I love washing motorcycles and playing in the garage. The only reason I have to do this one is because somebody was using the sandblast cabinet next to it without a cover. What are you pointing at? Are we done?
Can I bring them over and show them
Yeah.
your sister and Laurel?
Yep. Hey, easy.
You can explain to them what you did
Well, this.
and what's so neat about it. Just bear with me 1 second. On this twisted T-bone.
Remember what Zach said. Go slow. Slow.
Y'all can't see the face I'm making.
Or the finger.
I don't do that. You know that.
I just talked about that. I just talked about that the other day. That's the beer drinker and Hellraiser oil tank and shifter. This bike though, this is one of my favorite motorcycles. This is a 97 Sportster, but I was lucky enough to build this bike for Michael Lichter's show in Sturgis a couple years ago, and it was called What's the Skinny? So when I was growing up, man, like these skinny rail job Sportsters were like totally badass. And they, Sportsters and everything else too, but it was an opportunity to like kind of go back in time and build that, 70s way back machine, and everything super skinny and super minimalistic. So, obviously we called it Bone Daddy. And
so before you turn that back on again, explain to them Legba's ruin and why you did this bike the way you did, and the voodoo doll.
So a lot of you guys that are watching from Chopper Town right now will remember all of our good brother, Good Time Charlie Brechtel and the BIC crew. Charlie had a great amount of influence on me in my life, from, even though we were coast to coast away from each other. But Charlie used to tell me about, Aunt Mamie's whorehouse and, all the stories of growing up and the voodoo culture and Gree and everything. And getting to think about this and calling it Bone Daddy, it put me in the mind of the voodoo culture. And up in the front here, you'll see I actually strung together my own little voodoo Gree, and this was in honor of Charlie. It's just like a good luck talisman to keep away the evil spirits or whatever. But when it came to putting that on the oil tank, in voodoo culture, one of the many devils they talk about is a devil called Legba. But it turns out, in a story that you guys will probably know a little bit better, is Robert Johnson going to the crossroads. When he gets to crossroads, the devil he makes his deal with is Legba. So this is Legba's ruin. I'm literally saying if Robert Johnson had this motorcycle, he could outrun the old devil. There'd have been no deal.
So Sam Wilson said that his father had a bike like this back in '78, and he said they were dangerous in the turn.
Oh, but that's the thing, like, I talk about this all the time, man, that we have the advantage today of technology and machinery, and we're so much luckier because those guys, like, they used to build with what they had. And even when I started doing choppers and stuff, it was a digging bar and a sawzall and a big rosebud torch. But we built these frames, literally set the geometry up so that they handle, they ride well. I mean, look, if I stand this bike up with one hand, I can move that front end around because it's a proper chopper. It's a polite motorcycle. So they're super fun. And this is, you look around here, these are the hills of Pennsylvania that we ride, man, and you can't screw around on something that won't do turns here. So part of the reason why I'm getting these all cleaned up is, like I said, it's spring cleaning at the garage, but I also want to start taking you guys on some riding videos around here, because this is really one of the most beautiful places in the country to ride. We're going to do some, first and foremost, we're going to do some riding video with this one. Because it's getting ready to go bye-bye, and it really breaks my heart. We ended up loving this motorcycle so much, through the build, that I'm actually going to replicate this bike and build one just like it for Heather. But this was the real trick here. I mean, obviously we took a set of fat bobs and we, split them in the middle and brought them together a little bit more narrow, single tank. But this was the first time I used this fender from Lead Sled, and I didn't know how I was going to mount it, so I did this reverse radius kind of deal. It's almost like a European fender style mount, but I really dug it. It's quite a different look on the back of a motorcycle than most you see on bobbers and stuff.
So somebody says I really do miss Good Time. He's the man that turned me on to you guys and your magazine.
You know what? Charlie was a good dude. Now, a lot of times I tell the story about